It's Wednesday. Thanks for joining us here on The Big Picture. I'm Collin. She is Bryn.
Hi.
Yeah, we're in the dark, but hey, it's all right.
We're back.
Oh, there I am. Yeah, there we go.
Woo-hoo. What's going on, Collin?
You know, it's Wednesday. We got a dry day yesterday. Got on a great bike ride. Did not get rained on.
Okay, good. It was a beautiful day yesterday.
It was. Unfortunately, we're saying goodbye to that again today. It's going to rain probably closer to the commute time home this evening. Unfortunate. But, hey, not all of us are going to see the rain.
Okay,
so
I like to hear
enjoy
it.
it while it lasts.
I like to hear it.
Yeah.
Cool.
So let's get to our headlines this morning.
Let's
So
dive in.
last night at the Columbus City Schools Board of Education meeting, the school treasurer gave an update on the budget. Things have improved slightly, but still nowhere near what they need to get out of really the budget hole that they're in right now. Also, more flock cameras are being vandalized, not just here in central Ohio, but all across the country.
And we're talking about property tax relief opportunities following the storm damage that we got over the last 2 weeks. We have the Franklin County Auditor, Michael Stanziano, coming in, talking about what you can do to try to save some money if you've been impacted by these storms. And then we do have a maternal health expert coming on, talking about the resources available for mothers who are postpartum and trying to take care of their mental health. So we'll get into all of that. The reason why we're talking about this is because of the Lindsay Clancy trial out of Massachusetts. It's been going, viral on social media.
It's getting a lot of attention.
And really, it's bringing a lot of attention to an issue that a lot of women are passionate about talking about. So we're going to talk about that.
So let's dive into Columbus City Schools because Columbus City School students, well, they head back tomorrow.
Crazy.
Yeah. And it's
Summer's
where
over,
did the summer
kids.
go? I know. But last night, the treasurer for the Columbus City Schools District kind of gave an update on the district's 5-year forecast.
Right, because we know they were in a $53 million deficit.
Right. And that is an improvement from where it was, slightly. So roughly on track with the projections. So this $53 million number that was given last night by Treasurer Ryan Cook is better than the $59 million that was projected back in February. So this was an update from a few months. So we've done some paring back here and there, and we've managed to get that number down. However, that deficit's still going to continue to grow. Cook projects the district's deficit by 2031 is going to reach $157 million.
Yikes, that's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. And we know that they've tried to figure out, how do we cut this? We've cut staffing. We've cut back transportation as much as they pretty much legally can.
Right.
We've closed buildings, consolidated, tore them down. So, yeah.
What's next? It's a very tricky process, and they're obviously trying to navigate how to best do this because the reoccurring theme, obviously, we don't want the children's education to be impacted. That is the biggest thing with all of this. And already so many cuts have been made. So at this meeting, he kind of explained how tricky this is.
I don't think we can cut our way out of it. I think those cuts would be severe. We're already impacting the classroom. I think we all felt that pain. So to cut our way out of it isn't the best answer. I think we have more work we can do. We're going to certainly examine that. We've had no public discussions on anything, but we would be looking at a property tax or potentially an income tax. I guess theoretically maybe a combination, if you will. But we're very limited in what we can do. We can't fundraise our way out of $150 million deficit. My runway to just sit back and not have those conversations with you as a board is running out.
And those conversations over a levy, they haven't started yet, but board president Dr. Antoinette Miranda does expect talks on some sort of levy, a tax to begin soon.
There's really no other option at this point besides that.
And we know that at least from these projections presented by Ryan Cook that 77% of the district's general fund comes from local revenues.
Right.
So they've got to come up with it because we've dove into this extensively in the past of the state's budget cuts to public education in the last budget really affected these large school districts. Cleveland, Cincinnati,
Metro, Cincinnati, Columbus.
Dayton. Dayton cut transportation for high school students, I think, altogether.
Right. They did, and they have to run out of the RTA hub downtown Dayton.
Right.
I remember I spoke to them about it when Columbus City was proposing going to the public transit system for some of these older students. And so everyone's trying to navigate these budget shortfalls, and you're right, it's impacting a lot of these larger school districts.
Right, and Columbus City Schools did manage to save about $48 million by reducing the penalties that it was paying for basically being in non-compliance for busing the students that were not their own. Because remember last year and the year before, really last year and the year before, Columbus City Schools dug its heels in against busing charter and like private school kids that they didn't deem were, able to be transported. They were like, these kids are going way too far. We're spending all of this money taking them. We're not going to do it. Well, and they were paying out the nose in penalties for this. So kind of working with the state to adjust that and, partially caving in and then also deeming some students just not able to be transported officially. They've saved some money.
I'm looking at that $157 million deficit by 2031. Yeah. I mean, that is a lot of money.
Right.
This is going to be a work in progress, obviously, that will continue to follow.
All right.
Okay.
Let's go to the flock cameras.
I don't think we can cut our way out of it. I think those cuts would be severe.
All right, so flock cameras.
I love that stinger, folks.
yeah, it's we're learning. It is a work in progress every day, but hey, it's live. Flock cameras have been vandalized here in Central Ohio.
What, the flock?
So the latest has been out of Hebron.
Yes. We're getting serious about this.
Right, and the village says people cut the wires to 3 of these cameras, and 10 TV did catch up with the Hebron police chief, Tyler Walsh, about this, and he's like, we take this vandalism seriously. This is basically vandalizing city property.
Okay, we have that sound in here?
Yes, maybe, if not. Basically, he goes on to say, we are not going to be intimidated in taking these down, like saying that, like, we know that people want these gone.
I don't have it.
We're not going to do it.
Yeah.
And basically standing on that ground saying, well, in the last 3 years that this village of Hebron's had these, we've solved, little crimes from basically shoplifting and some like property crime all the way up to like domestic violence and robbery cases.
I mean, law enforcement's just elaborated on how useful these flock cameras have been. We think about big cases with CPD, the Tammy Mae case. What's the other one I'm trying to think of? There was another one recently. I mean, the Tepe murders.
Right, the Tepe murders was the big one recently.
Yeah, all of that was because of flock cameras and that ability to access that data.
Yeah.
And without that, I mean, what was the percentage? Like 66%
of homicides
in Columbus have been solved because of these flock cameras. So they're making a difference. I understand people wanting their privacy
people are
protected.
Really upset about it because even just here in the Columbus area, Gahanna's had flock cameras vandalized. One got cut down at Stigler Road last week. That's their 3rd one in 6 months. Hilliard has had them, vandalized. Franklin and Delaware counties have.
Folks.
Right. Vandalism, maybe not the best way to voice your opinions. But it's also a trend that's growing nationwide because you see it on social media, other reports from stations around the country that people are cutting these things down. They're spray painting the lenses, covering them in like the construction, like great stuff foam.
Holding signs all day in front of the flock
stuff
camera.
Over them. Websites have popped up that are, showing you where the locations of these are. I think that's DFlock. Shows you like a map of where these are.
And then you can look up if you've been flocked.
Yeah, you can punch in your license plate number.
Did that.
I did. I have not been flocked.
Oh, okay.
I have not. So evidently
I haven't looked up
no
mine
reason
yet.
for concern to the authorities.
Yeah, okay, that's good.
But, this pushback has also ended up with some cities canceling their contracts. We know Dayton has ended theirs.
Yeah, and we know the Columbus City, I mean, we're looking at all options now. They're trying to talk to people about what they want to see done here within the city. And you and Rochelle sat down with Emmanuel Remy about all of this just last week? Tuesday. Okay.
So this is what he had to say about, because we asked him, 2 Reynoldsburg officers just had to step down for misusing this data. One of them was tracking the license plate of a former domestic partner. So we wanted to know, okay, well, if Columbus is going to stick with using these systems, we can put all the guardrails in the world in place.
And this all came on the heels, this interview, after that public hearing, that meeting that happened on Monday. I mean, it lasted 6 hours. A lot of people were up there voicing their concerns about it. And all of this really did stem, too, from a probe into if ICE agents were using the flock data to potentially track people.
So here's how he answered that question. These guardrails may be in place, but how would City Council go about making sure that these guardrails are abided by?
Well, I think there's certain things we could do. Ask for regular audits, have them report back to council on a regular basis, whether that's monthly, quarterly, whatever the interval is. We can ask for them to be reported. Make sure that they're investigating every type of search that occurs. We can also limit who's able to make those searches.
Okay, and so just to reiterate, he said the city owns the data collected by Flock,
right?
Not Flock itself.
So in his eyes, the city of Columbus controls what happens with that.
Yeah, so, that was a good conversation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, well, coming up next, we got our good old friend Tyvis Powell in the building. We're talking about preseason. We're talking about the Brownies. It's going to be good. We'll be back in 2 minutes.
I'm Tracy Townsend, anchor at 10 TV News This Morning. My goal is simple: help you feel informed and connected. Because when news moves fast, you need a team that moves with you. Make the move to 10 TV News This Morning. Weekdays from 5 to 9, anywhere you watch.
Welcome back to the Big Picture 912 on your Wednesday morning. I'm Bryn, this is Collin, and we have 97.1 The Fans. Tyvis Powell with us right now.
How y'all doing?
What's going on, Tyvis?
Can't stop laughing at
Collin.
Collin.
Wednesday. What's so funny?
Collin is he's a funny guy. If y'all ever get a chance to converse with Collin, he is very, very funny.
Takes.
A lot of hot takes. Well, hey, let's talk about the preseason. I mean, the Buckeyes, the countdown.
Yeah.
2 weeks from Saturday.
Yeah. I'll be right here doing the tailgate show for it, too. You know, it's obviously, you get the preseason ranking. You're the number one team. Then yesterday, they dropped the AP preseason All-American list, and Jeremiah Smith and Luke Montgomery is the only two that's on first or second team lists. So everybody's like, well, what about Julian? And they have, I think it was Dante Moore was on the first team, and then Trinidad Chambliss from Ole Miss was on the second team. Now, granted, preseason rank AP All-American, it means nothing. It's just somebody to watch. Probably some guy that we ain't even talking about is probably going to come in there and take the first team All-American anyways. But it's crazy that Julian Sang had the season that he had, and he just does not get the respect at all.
Yeah, what's going on with that?
I don't know. I think it's a big season for him. I think that a lot of people look at him at the fact that you had the best player in college football in Jeremiah Smith, and then you had Carnell Tate, who was the first wide receiver drafted last year. Like, you had all this talent. Is it you, or is it that you're benefiting because of the receivers that you have?
So you're saying he has a lot to prove.
I think so, and I think this year is going to be a tale of tales for him, because when you go up against Ohio State, the one thing that the defensive coordinator is going to say is number 4 cannot beat me. It cannot be Jeremiah Smith. It has to be somebody else. Well, this is the first time in a very long time that it's questionable opposite of Jeremiah Smith. You got Chris Henry Jr., who's a true freshman. Brandon Ennis hasn't really produced a ton since he's been here. Devin McCune, we haven't seen him because he's new here from UTEP. So there is no bona fide guy that can single-handedly beat you. So Julian will have to make something happen with these other guys. And for the first time in Ohio State history in a long time around here, that's the case. So he's got a chance to prove all of that wrong. You think about last year.
No pressure.
Last year he played a handful of games without Jeremiah Smith or Carnell Tate. It didn't look great. So all I'm going to say, it wasn't like he threw for 300 yards in those games. It was a struggle in the passing game. So he's got a lot to prove, and I think that he set up this year to make a name for himself and potentially up his draft stock and go higher in the draft.
Okay, yeah. I felt like he wasn't getting a lot of love when the Heisman.
Yeah, what did he finish? Third? I think he finished third in it or something. Right. Or no, he might have finished fourth. I think it was Fernando, Diego Pavia, Jeremiah Love, and him. So I think he finished fourth.
Well, we'll see what happens. He obviously probably has a chip on his shoulder.
Oh yeah, he has to. He has to.
Right.
And I love it for him. I want to see how he responds. I think that the thing with him is his demeanor is he's cool, calm, and collected. Nothing really rattles him. Right. So I would like to see, now that everybody's kind of trash talking you a little bit, how do you respond? Do you have the dog in you? I think we'll find out this season.
And you know who's also in the middle of preseason? The Brownies.
Yeah. Yesterday they got into a fight, and Todd Monken had to stop practice because the defense was just the defense was just so physical that Todd Monken seen enough, and he had to stop practice early. And people are like, well, what do you think of that? I like it. I do, because I think that our defense is going to be fine. I know Jim Schwartz is gone. I know Myles Garrett is gone. But I think the defense and who they replace those guys with are still going to be productive. The offensive side of the ball has been the people that's been holding them back for many, many years. So I like the fact that there's some physicality there because they open up joint practice against Buffalo tomorrow. They're going to have one joint practice with Buffalo. You think Buffalo just going to come in there and be easy? No, they're going to do the same thing. So I like that they got them prepared for what's going to happen tomorrow.
Okay, yeah. Let's just make sure they, become a team, though. You know what I mean? Work together.
We'll figure that out down the line.
We'll
figure that out.
Love our
they
teammates.
can fight, just not themselves.
Brothers fight.
Put that somewhere else.
And then you come together and you hug it out and you go on.
Yeah.
You go beat up other people.
All right, Tyvis, it's hot take. Well, no, yesterday was hot
Yesterday
take
was hot take
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Today was Ask Tyvis Anything.
Yes.
Oh, what were people asking you?
Oh, a little this, a little that. Don't really want to get into it because I don't know if it's appropriate what they were asking me.
Oh my.
They were asking me about. You know what? I'm not gonna get into it. I'm not gonna get into it.
I do not. You can go to the 97.1 fan YouTube page.
End that there. Tyvis, thank you so much. We'll see you Friday.
All right. Well,
it's
been a week since those severe storms rolled through central Ohio. And if you had damage, you may qualify for some temporary property tax relief. We bring on the Franklin County Auditor next.
I'm Bryn traffic anchor for 10 TV News this morning. My mission is simple, to help you get to where you're going quickly and safely. Because when your morning's on the move, so are we. Make the move to 10 TV News this morning, anywhere you watch.
Coming up on 921 on your Wednesday. Thanks for hanging out with us. Right now, joined by Franklin County Auditor Michael Stinziano. Michael, thanks so much for coming in.
Good morning.
So it's been a week. Actually, it's been a week and a day since we saw, the tornado hit the south side of the city. We also got some straight line wind damage. Upper Arlington, a lot of people ended up with some damage.
It was crazy.
There is some relief, though, especially when it comes to property taxes, that this could help people balance some of the stress of trying to put things back together.
So understanding people still, I think all power's back on, but still trying to figure out what may be still good in their fridge or not, getting back settled, but want property owners to know that if they had damaged or destroyed property, there is a program under Ohio law that they can complete a form. We'll work with them on what the impact is on their value. And then again, depending when they are able to get their property back up to its highest and best use, their relief could be impactful on future property tax bills for a little bit.
Did you go out and survey any of the damage?
We have used some GIS data, so have not personally surveyed outside of being out and about on the county. So I saw the damage in Berliner. I was in Upper Arlington yesterday. Still a lot of limbs down, a lot of cleanup to go. But we will be contacting certain targeted neighborhoods, Old Town East, Upper Arlington in particular, that we know saw substantial impact.
And what kind of, percentage of property tax reduction are we talking about?
It really depends on how large the damage is. If it completely knocked over a structure, it's pretty substantial. So we'll just go take it down to the land value if it's a complete demolish. But if it's a roof or repair, it could be anywhere from a couple hundred to a couple thousand, depending again on how severe the damage was.
And you guys are in the middle of property value reviews right now. That goes all the way through September 5th. Did these storms affect that at all?
Depends. So it does not change the current tentative auditor's value that we submitted to property owners in June. But if someone, now that they have the damage, wants to participate in a property value review, say, hey, this clearly is going to impact if I was trying to sell my property right now, we would encourage them to take advantage of the property value review, either submit documentation, schedule a virtual meeting, or an in-person meeting up until that September 5th deadline.
Okay, and talk to us about how property values and property taxes
I always love this question.
I know you love this one.
So it's not a one-to-one, particularly in Franklin County. So values can go up, taxes can go down, value could go down, taxes could go up. So 35% of the auditor's final value, so that's what's important. We're establishing that final value right now, combined with your taxing district. Your taxing district's what you vote on, is how the property taxes get established. So also very important, we're going to have an election in November. If people are going to have a ballot or levy issue, they should be aware of that impact. But it's not a one-to-one. That is my big message. So we're seeing on average residential values going up 10%. Right now, property taxes are not increasing 10%. If your community approves a couple levies, it may see an increase, but it's not, again, because directly tied to that value component.
And was there another storm from years past that you can think about where property owners got a little bit of relief just like this?
So not as large scale.
Okay.
The big example was out in Dayton. A few years back, they had massive tornadoes, wiped out communities,
I was there covering it. It was awful.
actually led to a law change where the auditors can proactively change values. We're a little sensitive. We want to make sure we're not overstepping it depending on what people are seeking for change. But that's a big example where just, again, if you were there, you saw the communities completely wiped out. That substantially impacted values in those communities.
And, as somebody who's owned a home before, I found property tax season very confusing. And when it comes to breaking down what my bill means, or in the event of currently trying to figure out how to apply for this relief, are there people in the office that are able to answer the phone or sit down with you and work through that?
Absolutely. So we would encourage everyone to visit the auditor's website, auditor.franklincountyohio.gov. Right at the top of the main page is the property tax relief for damaged and destroyed. But contact information, contact any member of the office. We want to make sure people are aware of the programs and take advantage of them.
And what else? What other advice do you have for people? Do you wish people took photos, send those in? Do you wish they documented things over the last week?
Not necessarily. I mean, we'll see the damage, but want the documentation. That's what's going to be helpful. Eventually, in Dayton's case, a lot of insurance companies were also involved, but we will work directly with that property owner. But the documentation's key. So if it's didn't take pictures before, you can take them now. I mean, the damage is the damage, and we'll make sure we're updating accordingly.
Right. And obviously, this is in the middle of that property tax review season. You have until September 5th if you think that your property tax evaluation is wrong, to go in and kind of make your case for that.
Absolutely. And we haven't seen a lot of participation, so we really appreciate you reminding folks of that. We currently have one less of 0.5% have participated.
Oh.
So substantially lower than we were expecting.
Does that mean people were happy?
So that some members of the office will say yes. Other people will say no one wants to do this process, and that's why they're not participating. And so we're trying to find that sweet spot, but it's there's no reason not to take advantage. The auditor's current tentative value is the ceiling. So if you participate, it's either going to be held at that value or decreased if that's what you're pursuing.
Okay.
All righty. Well, thanks for coming in today. We appreciate it.
I know it's not as exciting as Ohio State football, but it is taxes, so it's important.
No,
it's important stuff to know, especially coming off these storms.
Exactly.
That, people are looking for any way to build themselves back.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Franklin County Auditor Michael Stenziano, thanks so much for coming in.
Thanks,
All right.
guys.
We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in 2 minutes.
I'm Yolanda Harris. I'm a journalist at 10 TV News. I don't just report about our community, I belong to it. And that's why we care so deeply about getting it right. And when local journalism is done right, it moves. It moves you to act, to verify, to volunteer. And yes, it moves your heart through the kind of human storytelling that stays with you wherever you are. And at 10 TV, we're here for all of it. These are the stories that move Central Ohio.
Welcome back to The Big Picture. It is 9:30 on your Wednesday morning. I am Bryn Caswell.
And I'm Collin Dorsey. Great to have you with us.
Yes.
Let's go to Plymouth, Massachusetts.
Right. There is a major case happening there right now. It's the trial of 36-year-old Lindsay Clancy. That's in Massachusetts. And she's accused of 3 counts of first-degree murder. She's accused of murdering her 3 children.
A 5-year-old, a 3-year-old,
Yes.
and an 8-month-old. This all happened in January 2023.
Right.
She, prosecutors, the state is saying that she had planned out these murders before making a fake attempt at suicide on herself.
Right.
She's now paralyzed due to that attempt.
Mm-hmm.
This has gained a lot of attention and really put a focus on postpartum.
Right, maternal health care
Yes.
in general. And the reason why it is because throughout this entire trial, the defense in particular has shown text messages, calls, all this proof that she had reached out for help time and time again. She had reached out to her mother-in-law. She's reached out to her mother. She reached out to multiple healthcare providers. She reached out to her husband. And still somehow, after receiving some care, this still transpired and she fell through the cracks. And so, again, it's just bringing, a lot of attention on this. And so we're going to play part of the trial. Her mother-in-law took the stand yesterday, actually, and she was asked about the side effects and the experience that Lindsay was having and what she was communicating with her.
She felt mostly she had insomnia, She was losing her appetite. She was very anxious and sad.
Did she tell you that she was seeing doctors?
Yes.
And at some point, did you recommend, did she come to you and ask you for help regarding seeing a doctor?
Yes, she asked for my support.
And did you obviously gave it to her?
Yes.
And what did you do to make any recommendations for her?
I reached out to my colleagues who were running a clinic for women that were struggling postpartum.
And then as this trial continued, we learned that she was sending text messages asking for her mom to come and help. And I mean, in these text messages, they're very raw. You can read them. And Lindsay Clancy is stating like, Mom, I need help. I'm not feeling right. Something's wrong. I'm not able to sleep. And so again, another outreach for help.
It was sometime probably around the second week of October.
What happened that you noticed?
I noticed that she had become very anxious. She told me she was anxious about going back to work because Collin was having trouble taking a bottle and she didn't feel right about leaving him.
So right now we're going to go ahead and bring in Tanya Fullwider, the Executive Director of the Mental Health of America here in Ohio. Thank you for joining us. This case certainly has put a lot of spotlight on maternal mental health, especially postpartum care. We know a lot of mothers can suffer with, depression symptoms after birth, that postpartum time period. What are some of the risk factors associated with postpartum depression?
Well, thank you. That's a great question. And I want to step back and offer just a little context. The term postpartum depression, what we often think of actually can begin during pregnancy. So a lot of times we'll use the term perinatal, which means from the beginning of pregnancy through about the first year postpartum as the whole kind of pregnancy postpartum time period, perinatal. But risk factors, so associated with postpartum psychosis would be a personal or family history of bipolar disorder. But as far as pregnancy or postpartum depression, a personal or family history of a mental health condition, so depression, anxiety, bipolar disorder is probably the most common risk factor. But personal stressors, financial stress, relationship stress, all the physical changes that happen in pregnancy or postpartum, lack of sleep, those hormonal changes, which are huge, pregnancy or infant loss, birth trauma, barriers to care. But they're not really a checklist, right? Mm-hmm. So somebody can have a lot of risk factors and not be impacted by this condition, or but no one is immune.
Right, and I feel like it's definitely on a spectrum because some people don't get full blown postpartum depression. They just maybe have the baby blues for a little while, and they're just feeling a little down. They don't like when the sun goes down, and then you can get into psychosis, which is a whole different thing. I know you said you've been following this case. What are your biggest takeaways? She obviously reached out for help and was trying to get care time and time again.
Yeah, it's a tough question because I don't know what exactly happened. She did the right things, and it's tough for practitioners because there is no blood test to say this is the diagnosis. It's important to continue to talk to providers that you trust, whether that's an OBGYN, your baby's pediatrician, reach out to care, reach out to those that you love, and hopefully have education about what signs and symptoms look like across the spectrum, whether that's pregnancy or postpartum depression, anxiety, obsessive compulsive disorder, bipolar disorder, or psychosis. Right.
And it's important to note, too, that this can be something that affects, especially postpartum depression, can affect anybody, even if it's a family that has that seemingly perfect life. Everything's put together, supportive partners, stable home. We're talking about hormonal changes. We're talking about a significant life change here. For what resources are available? I mean, because we are talking about this can once again happen to anyone. Mm-hmm. In their lives. What resources are out there? How do you even start this conversation?
Yeah, well, I'm so glad you asked that question. So resources here in Central Ohio, What I hope happens to anyone who gives birth in Central Ohio is that their perinatal care provider, OBGYN, or any midwife has asked or screened them for a perinatal mental health condition and will refer them to the POEM program, Perinatal Outreach Encouragement for Moms, which is the program that's hosted at Mental Health America of Ohio. And what's so important about the program, and is actually unique both in the state as well as nationally, is that it's a single entry point of care. So you don't have to know, do I need a therapist? Do I need a psychiatrist? What kind of resource do I need? Do I know what my diagnosis is? You just have to reach out to the team at POEM. It's a team of perinatal peer support specialists, and the team understands the full spectrum of conditions and can help walk moms through, or families or providers can walk moms through what the conditions look like and what kind of care might be helpful, and then stay engaged with mom through the whole process. And there's a peer walking alongside them.
Wow, that's wonderful, because I think that's so important, someone to check in on you and kind of keep track of where things are at. Obviously, within the last 20 years, the whole conversation surrounding mental health has changed a lot. It's definitely more prevalent, I would say. How have you seen it changed over the years when it comes to postpartum health care for moms?
Yeah, it has. POEM's been around for a long time, and we have seen that a lot more folks are comfortable sharing, asking their providers, talking to their friends and family. We see more providers screening. We see more activity both locally and in the state. We have an Ohio Perinatal Behavioral Health Task Force that actually just launched a More to Our Story campaign, just launching to really talk about the spectrum of conditions. But it's also that, particularly when we talk about things like postpartum psychosis, it's not widely understood. There's a lot of misconception between something like perinatal OCD. People understand OCD, but maybe they don't understand that scary and intrusive thoughts where that's associated with OCD is very different than postpartum psychosis, where there's a loss of touch with reality. And if we don't have people who have that education understand the differences, then we have moms and families that are afraid to speak up because they're afraid that someone might take their baby away. So it is really important that we continue to grow in our understanding specifically about perinatal mental health conditions across the spectrum, and keep getting our clinical provider partners trained in treating these conditions.
Okay.
What would be a final message you have to people out there when it comes to reducing stigma, breaking down those barriers when it comes to just even opening up that conversation?
Yeah. Well, clearly stigma still exists, and I really just continue to encourage providers, moms, and families that these conditions, depression, anxiety, are common. They're the most common complication of pregnancy and childbirth. They're common. It's not your fault. You're not to blame. It doesn't mean you're a bad mom. You deserve care. You deserve help. And with help, you can get better.
All right, Tanya, thank you so much for coming on. Really great conversation there.
And remember, if you find yourself in some sort of crisis, remember the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is available 24/7. All you need to do is call or text 988. Someone is live on the other end of that line to help. It doesn't have to be suicide. It just needs to be some sort of crisis. Whatever you feel you need help with, there are people to help. So remember, 988. All right, coming up next, another driver stops right in the middle of the interstate in Columbus. But first, we've got to check in with the Red Cross for today's 10 TV Blood Drive.
I'm Jeff Hogan. I've been a journalist at 10 TV for more than 20 years. I don't just report about our community, I belong to it. And that's why we care so deeply about getting it right. And when local journalism is done right, it moves. It moves you to act, to speak up, or lend a hand. And yes, it moves your heart through the kind of human storytelling that stays with you wherever you are. And at 10 TV, we're here for all of it. These are the stories that move Central Ohio.
All right,
Welcome
9:43.
back. All right, if you didn't watch our morning show this morning, shame on you, number one. But if you're here with us now, we'll forgive you. happening right now. There is
10 TV blood drive.
Yes! Get out and donate some blood. This is happening right now at the Columbus Airport Marriott.
They're on North Cassidy Avenue.
Yep, it's from 8 a.m. until 6 p.m.
So you got plenty of time.
Plenty of time. I was there this morning talking to organizers and the staff setting up. I mean, it was fun seeing them set up because
it's a little army that runs in.
It's an army. It's a well-oiled machine. They know what they're doing. They come in and it's basically all put together in like 10 minutes. It was amazing to watch. But here's a little clip from me having fun there this morning. I'm here at the Columbus Airport Marriott where we are 1 hour into this blood drive. And this morning I'm joined by Don Hawkins with the Red Cross of Central Ohio. Thank you so much for joining me today. As we can see everyone setting up, this is such a well-oiled machine. They're doing it so quickly. What's it like seeing this?
You know, our folks are the best in the world when it comes to running a blood drive. We know what we're doing, we come in, we get in, and we're ready to take care of everyone who comes to donate today.
Absolutely. And why is it so important that people come out and donate today?
You know, it's a huge thing to make sure the blood supply stays strong. We're trying to make sure everyone understands how important it is to keep a strong supply. We just got out of a shortage. We don't want to find ourselves in another one. So donate today. Help us make sure that supply is strong. So whenever someone, it might be someone you know even, someone needs that blood, it is on hand.
Absolutely. And we had catastrophic storms this past week. Were any of the donations disrupted from the weather?
Yeah, we saw a few cancellations in around Athens for those blood drives. Luckily, we didn't suffer that many cancellations, but other places are not going to be as lucky whenever storms hit them this fall. And we want to make sure the supply is strong to help cover up that slack should other drives get canceled.
And obviously this has been going on for an hour now, but people who are watching maybe considering coming out later today to donate blood, what do they need to know?
Hydrate, drink as much water as you can, eat a good meal, come in, be ready. If you make your appointment ahead of time on redcrossblood.org using sponsor code GIVEIN, you can, streamline that process and get in and get out within an hour.
Don, who can donate?
Anyone over the age of 16 to 18 in Ohio, you need parental permission. If you're over 18, come on in. There might be some medications that might defer you. You can check that list online at redcrossblood.org. If you think you might be on a medication that would do that, double check that, and we'll tell you if you are when we get here. So,
Don, thank you so much. We appreciate it. Again, doors close for this blood drive at 6 p.m. here at the Columbus Airport Marriott. So come on down on your lunch break, maybe after work. They'd be more than happy to have you. All you need to do is roll up your sleeve and you can help save a life.
And it really doesn't take that long either. I mean, they can, depending on how fast you bleed.
And if you're hydrated, that was the biggest thing.
Keep yourself hydrated.
Drink like 2 Mega Stanley Cups before going, and then drink some water while you're there, and the blood will come right out.
I know. I think I've been in and out in half an hour before, less than that. I mean, I used to donate a lot.
Yeah, good for you. I forget what blood type I am. But
I'm B positive.
You're B positive.
They're like,
my dad's O negative, so he's the universal donor. They're always calling him. But we spoke to Don about, if this is your first time donating, that's okay. They encourage that. They'll walk you through the process. And there's also some giveaways as well if you donate today. So listen to this.
For a first-time blood donor, it is so important to remember that you're doing something courageous. You are doing something that could help save a life. And it is scary. I am petrified of needles. I still give blood a few times a year because I know it's going to help somebody. Maybe you haven't given blood before because you're afraid of needles. Maybe it's because you've just never thought about this process. This is one of the most selfless things you can do. It is a huge, huge, huge impact. I've talked to so many people who have received this blood. You're going to help save a life. So keep that in mind. Face your fear. Our folks will walk you through it. They are so gentle, so caring. You will be taken care of when you're here.
And not only is the biggest incentive helping save a life, but there are some giveaways today. Tell us about that.
Yeah, everyone who comes to give blood is going to get a ticket that is good for Cedar Point or Kings Island, whichever park you prefer to go to. And you also get a $20 Amazon gift card via email after your donation.
Wonderful, Don. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, Don, thank you for being a superstar all morning, hanging out with me.
I love an opportunity to go to Kings Island or Cedar Point.
Yes.
For free?
Yeah, well, you have to drive to get up there. I mean, I guess you could fly technically, but let's talk about the roads. There was a video captured by ODOT.
Ugh, it's another case of somebody just stopping in the middle of the interstate for God knows why.
Let's play it. Let's run it back.
Roll tape. So there's this red SUV, and you see this fuel truck swerve around it, and all these other cars are coming to a stop.
It's my first time seeing this, guys.
Oh my gosh,
live
it's crazy.
Reaction.
So we've got all these cars going, oh my God, and then it does end up causing a crash. And at the end, we've hit this utility car. And then the red car, who caused all of this, just drives right on off.
Oh, my goodness. This is crazy. I'm so familiar with this exit,
too.
Right,
this was the Neal Avenue at 670 exit there.
What a mess.
And, we don't know why they did it. Did they, were they missing their exit? Because, as I said this morning, good drivers sometimes miss their exits. Bad drivers never do. And that's what we've seen in the past of drivers going, oh, God, there's my exit, and then try to cut across all these lanes. I don't know, was this a case of insurance fraud? Because you see that, too, of people stopping to get hit to commit insurance fraud.
True, or even that person that did hit that. Who knows why that person stopped, but the person that hit him maybe didn't have insurance either, so just took off.
It's just, what are you doing?
It's so crazy. I don't know why drivers can't get it together here. Honestly, it's really not that.
Right, and ODOT is just if you miss it, go up to the next one and come back around.
It's not worth risking your life or risking others, and there's always a next exit.
Yes,
They're not going anywhere.
I have made the most inconvenient exit miss in this city, which in my opinion is the Polaris exit, because the next one, if you miss it, is Sunbury. You have to go all the way into Delaware County and make that loop around. It's like a 20-mile loop. But if you miss it, just
what it is. Don't try to put it in reverse and go back and cross over.
Right.
It's so scary.
It is. And I'm just like, what are we doing?
I feel like maybe there needs to be now a requirement where when everyone hits their middle age, they have to take a driving refresher course.
I am glad that we're,
in the state of Ohio.
Here's my opinion coming out
Here
on
we
this.
go.
I am glad that we've lowered that age that you need to take driver's ed.
For sure.
That, because Ohio for the longest time, if you were at a certain age, you could just take the test and they give you your license. But now we've bumped that up where it's more required that I think it's now 21, because it was 18 for a while and now it's been bumped up. So we're now requiring more people to take an actual course to learn to drive.
And you learn a lot in those courses. They're jam-packed with information. If you've never driven before, it's really helpful.
Right.
Who wants to get behind a wheel without knowing how to drive?
Right.
That's
crazy. Terrifying. You're
or on a highway.
Piloting a missile.
Oh my gosh. I remember after I got my temps, my parents were like, okay, you're driving home and we're getting on the highway. They were like, we're doing this right now.
Yeah.
But it helped, I overcame my fear right then and there. Baptism by fire. So.
Right. I mean, I came from rural America and I was driving since 7.
No, I remember that. I was like, but I don't know how to go on the highway. And my mom is like, just go fast.
Yeah. Well, in Illinois too.
Keep your eyes on the road, girlfriend.
We had driver's ed as a regular part of our curriculum. It was just part of high school.
Mine was part of school too. We did it after school and it was really easy.
Taught by our PE teachers.
Oh, really? That's cool.
It was just part of school. It wasn't an after or before thing. It was just a class in school that you took, which was convenient. I think there was a nominal fee. It was $30.
There's a cost associated with it.
It got you through it, but we didn't have the private. We didn't have the private driver's ed like we do here.
Yeah.
But yeah, and that was, my PE teacher was just like, we're going to the interstate, boys, and just took us to the interstate.
That's how you learn. You don't learn if you don't try, right? Okay. Well, we'll be back in about 2 minutes.
Talking healthcare.
Yeah, healthcare, and of course, AI.
Not every weather impact day is dangerous, but plenty are inconvenient. That's where our weather impact team comes in with the details that matter the most. Live, local, whenever you need it. No waiting, no guesswork. Stay in the know and be prepared with 10 TV.
All right, so we were talking a little bit in the break here about everybody has been victimized by WebMD.
Literally, that's
of searching
what I said.
what is wrong? And it's you're dying.
I've had a headache for three days. What's going on?
Yeah.
Immediately go to the hospital.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I hate WebMD.
Well, now, obviously, with the rise of AI,
it's even worse.
More people are turning to AI about their health concerns, health symptoms. Ivan Rodriguez takes a look into what people are using it for, and is it always a great idea?
A symptom pops up, an answer can be just a scroll away. A new study published in the Journal of the American Medical Association indicates online information may be shaping real-world health decisions. Nearly 88% of U.S. adults surveyed reported using social media. Among those users, almost 85% said they shared general or personal health information. But the most notable finding,
I think the biggest surprise that we found, that 1 in 5 people are actually making their health-related decisions based on what they saw on social media.
Especially because nearly 78% of social media users said they believed health information on social media was false or misleading. Rohan Kira, a senior author of the study, says one problem is that online content can look convincing without being accurate.
It is so much easier as generative AI, like chatbots have become around. You can make graphics, you can make images about anything. And that might be completely fake information. And then I think the other problem is there are people online whose entire revenue stream is number of clicks they have.
AI chatbots can also be useful helping people understand medical terms or prepare questions for their doctor. But Kira warns the answer you get can depend on how you ask the question, and a chatbot may miss warning signs that a medical professional would recognize.
It will not keep helping you navigate to the highest risk conditions first, because it's not a triage tool. It's a personal assistant meant to have a conversation with you.
I'm Ivan Rodriguez reporting.
So, yeah, kind of the same issue as WebMD, but
just more
people,
anxiety.
yeah, and I think there's a large subsect of people that really trust all of these AI chat bots.
I mean, I know so many friends who are like, oh, I saw this on TikTok, so I got this like supplement, or like, you know, this influencer said to say this, or like, you know what I mean? It's like they're listening to their phones, but it really, it's wonderful just to make an appointment with your doctor, start with primary care, bring your questions to them, and then they'll you know, take you where you need to go with your treatment.
As we talk about social media and influencers, there's a whole discussion going on around GLP-1s and why maybe if you're on one and you have kids, it's be open about that.
Right. So a new study found that half of patients taking a GLP-1 weight loss drug, they are talking openly with it about their kids, about the medication, according to this new study. So, all of this is basically they're saying that secrecy around taking GLP-1s that can contribute to shame and stigma around the medication. And obviously, as we've seen, the medication can help a lot of people who need it, who need to be prescribed it.
Right, because, you know, once again, we talk about the things that you see on social media. There's a group of, you know, fitness people out there. They're like, this is cheating. You need to do it the old-fashioned way. But this exists as a way to help.
Right.
If, you know, there's a group of people that this is really beneficial for.
Right. And it says many adults who struggle with food or body image blame the role models who were dieting during their childhood. Starting this conversation with your children younger helps them feel better about their bodies.
Use this as a tool. If it helps you get to that finish line, cool.
And if your doctor prescribes it, your insurance covers it, perfect.
Right.
So I thought that was pretty interesting. And then it talks about eating meals together as a family, how beneficial that is.
Yeah.
So that's really important, having those conversations around the dinner table.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think I was going to say, yeah, we were definitely a dinner table.
Yeah, same.
Family. Yeah.
That's why I like to talk so much now. Yep. Look what they did to me. Alrighty, let's get to some good news about the zoo.
Oh my gosh, these are adorable.
Ta-da! Look at that thing. What is that?
Collin, I can't remember the name of it.
A langer? A new silvered langer?
A langer.
Ooh.
Yeah, which is orange when they're babies.
It's so bright orange.
It is bright
it's crazy.
orange. Just born back in July 30th, to first-time mother Coral and father Kuwati. They're at the Columbus Zoo. I mean, it's adorable. I want to pet it.
I know.
There are so many critters at the Columbus Zoo that I would love to pet. Columbus Zoo, if you're listening, do that. I want to pet a red panda so badly.
Collin, we know some people we can call.
Right. I want to pet the red pandas.
Maybe they can bring one in for us. They brought in that the North African porcupine.
Oh,
that
I
was
forgot
crazy.
about the porcupine.
That was crazy.
Yeah, there was penguins here one time, and there were feathers everywhere for days.
Yes, that was my fault too. I love bringing the zoo in. I love it. Yeah. So cute. And actually, in fact, this little orange little baby you're looking at right now, it's going to lose its orange hair.
It's going to turn gray.
Kind of that.
Like it's adults.
Gray color, whatever that.
They also have baby flamingos at the zoo right now.
Yes, they had a flamingo baby shower for them. That is so cute.
Right.
A flamingo baby shower. Oh my gosh, they were asking people to come.
Right.
So fun.
They haven't turned pink yet, but that is obviously on their diet.
Right, because they like those shrimpers.
Yeah, the little krill things.
Yeah, delicious. Okay.
So,
well, that does it for us today on this Wednesday. We'll be back tomorrow at 9 a.m. Thanks for joining us.
Listen to us wherever you get your podcasts.
Absolutely. Everyone have a safe day. Enjoy it. It's going to be a little rainy maybe. We don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know. We don't have Adam or Aaron here with us right now. All right. Well, that does it for us. We'll be back.